You are listening to Abnormal Spaces.
I'm Donnie.
I'm Ryan.
In this podcast, we discuss conceptual realities, the researchers, authors, and explorers who describe and define them, as well as our personal experiences in these abnormal spaces. Episode 1. In this episode, we will discuss Robert Monroe, the Monroe Institute, the Gateway Project, astral projection, out-of-body experiences, and much more. So I went to CIA.gov and went to there's a reading room and it has Freedom of Information Act stuff. And I downloaded, and I can share this with you. It's from June of 1983, and it's from the Department of the Army, and it's in reference to the Gateway experience.
Ooh.
So, yeah. So it's got graphs or illustrations, not really graphs. It's got illustrations and stuff. But so the author of this letter is Wayne McDonnell, and he was a commander in the Army. And so I don't know if you've heard of the Monroe Institute.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this is directly from Monroe stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So they end up identifying the particular waveforms that will help you get to whichever plane that you want to get to. So, and the one that is like our home plane is kind of a nice low, like, sound. And there are higher pitched sounds and lower pitched sounds and stuff. And anyway, it's really fascinating. There are all of these different planes of existence, and different people have been able to access them and then, report what they found. So yes, some of this was used for remote viewing. That's what the Army was most interested in. But some of it was just to explore. And so apparently it's slightly easier to go back to a point in time, what we consider back, as opposed to going forward. But going forward can happen. You can do that. It's just more difficult.
But it's always kind of like just a probability.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I guess critics would argue that, oh, well, you're just inducing these different dream states, and these are just dreams. And it's like, well, maybe, but that's just our definition of what a dream even is, But what's really interesting to me is that, and it doesn't say this in this particular paper, but I found this elsewhere online, that one of the planes is what we in like a Western culture would consider kind of a hellish plane.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's terrible. And then the final plane, you can't come back from if you go there. What happens is you become just pure energy. And so you're not able to return to your body.
The cord cuts.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're just floating as energy.
Mm-hmm.
But what was fascinating to me was the depth of this paper, and all of the different things identified, and the fact that the Army spent quite a long time working on this and like researching it and having these subjects. And so to hear a lieutenant from the Army essentially saying that, oh yeah, this is all 100% true, and here's the steps necessary to achieve these certain things, and yeah. It's wild.
Yeah, that's. I started with Robert Monroe when I was having lucid dream stuff happening to me, and I can't remember how I came across him. I think it was his book. So he wrote 3 books, And this first one was Journeys Out of the Body. And in the first book, it's really cool because, he was a radio, like an engineer, and he knew a lot of things about recording and broadcast and frequencies and everything. And he was also I think he was like a pilot. And he started having out-of-body experiences for no reason. And it was freaking him out. And instead of getting afraid of it, I guess he just dove into it. And he came up with the binaural beat technology.
Yeah.
You shoot say 440 hertz in the left ear, and you shoot 445 hertz in the right ear, and what your brain, it goes mum 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 mum, and that's the 5 hertz between the two.
Oh, interesting.
Right. So that actually is basically syncing your both hemispheres of your brain.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. There's a ton of that.
I have the
hemi-sync.
I have the tapes.
Oh, cool.
And,
awesome.
and the CDs of 2 different ones.
Oh, that's awesome.
So the cassettes, they were cassettes,
Right. Yeah.
The CDs were better, as far as the tones, but now there's so much stuff with binaural beats. So I have the Luma 10, which is I got it a long time ago too, but it's just a box that's digital, and it has pre-made programs that do these ramp ups and ramp downs with all these binaural beats and other things that I don't even know about now.
Yeah.
And it has glasses with it, and it's got LEDs that sync with it. So when you close your eyes, you can see these ramps of flashes. And I mean, it's like a trip.
Well,
man.
yeah, it sounds like
a trip. And it'll put you in some weird spots, man. You'll be flipping backwards and doing all kinds of stuff. I'll let you borrow it. You just use it.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was new to the term hemi-sync and hemisphere sync. So just a quick search, and I found this entire website dedicated to it. And you could choose, if you needed some kind of meditative thing or some kind of something to help with past trauma or something, just different things that you can holistically heal yourself by listening to these guided kind of meditations with these tones to get because that was one of the things that I found from this paper was that Monroe, and it sounds like exactly what you were saying, that he really believed that if you could get the 2 hemispheres of the brain to work together, that you could, not that they don't, but to work together in a particular way, that you could achieve particular goals. And some of that is actually healing yourself. So it's not just meeting the space alligators that control everything. It's also
or sports.
Yeah.
Or, people in sports, I mean, they have to sync up to be in the zone. The zone is probably a synchronization of your brain hemispheres.
Yeah, I would imagine.
What's cool about the hemi-sync, I think, is that you have, if you're hearing mum, 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 because both tones are straight sine waves.
Right, yeah.
So if you're hearing that means that it's synced.
That's so cool.
So it's almost like it's just immediate.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have to achieve it, because if you're hearing that sound, you're like, oh, it's already happening.
Yeah.
So then you just relax and, but that's the part that's takes a little bit of practice and calming yourself down and getting relaxed, because that's a whole thing too.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I had the most trouble with.
Yeah, I was just kind of astounded by the amount, and that's just the first document that I found. There are more documents on that reading room on the CIA.gov. And, I'm on a list now, but that's okay. I was probably already on a list anyway.
Yeah, we're all on a list.
But yeah, but I thought it was really fascinating too. I had heard that the reptilian overlord thing was a anti-Semitic thing, and it very well could be, and there's lots of evidence to support that. But when several of these people went to this particular plane, they all reported the same thing. These alligator-like creatures that were running things. And so it's okay, well, wait, which came first? And did the concept of the reptilian overlord thing get co-opted by, Nazi types and anti-Semites, or what? I have a lot of questions about that, and that's something I haven't found a lot of evidence on, is like what these people saw, why they thought that these reptilian alligator things were in control. Like what made them think they were in control, I guess, is another thing that I don't understand. And then there was one person reported like a real malevolent feeling. Like there was a council of like 12 of these things or something like that. So, and then you have to also wonder how much of their own baggage are they bringing to it, you know? And if that's the filter through which you see things anyway, then are you just going to take that same filter with you to another plane and see everything that way as well?
Rosalind McKnight was one of his students. And what was crazy about her is she would go under and she could talk in real time as it was happening.
Oh, nice.
So there's a book. I have a book. It's called Cosmic Journeys, My Out-of-Body Explorations with Robert Monroe. It's one session after another of just mind-blowing shit.
And she's just reporting what she's seeing as she's...
in real time. She'll report from another perspective of like beings that are in the room.
Oh.
And they'll be like, we're going to take over this consciousness to explain to you better. And she's basically out there flying around doing whatever the hell she wants to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, wild.
Yeah. And it ties in with Dolores Cannon and the hypnotherapy stuff. I mean, it's all the same shit. It's like channeling it, all that stuff. It's a different consciousness, like almost riding the frequency of your personal vibration.
Yeah.
To me, I'm like, okay, so, you know, vibrations, you know, we have cosmic vibrations, we have, you know, radio waves, we have all this stuff. Sound. Which one is most effective?
Right.
You know, because people are using sound, and I've always wondered, you know, like, and Tesla always comes to my mind because I'm like,
Yeah.
I know that shit works because I've seen it and
Yeah.
I've messed with it.
Yeah.
But not in that way, you know, like in training, you're just like pulling you out into a new frequency, or like without you having to practice anything.
Or is there like some kind of shortcut device which uses like, you know, electroshock or something,
right?
You know, put some different energy in there. Yeah. Well, and light, I mean, you had mentioned the glasses earlier, and I think that the light waves, because of them being energy waves as well, I would imagine that if you could do some kind of combination with light, sound, and, you know, electricity or something like that, you could probably jumpstart it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that Luma 10, man, light and sound is very, very powerful.
Yeah.
As far as putting you in a pinpoint state, I think maybe in a Monroe book or in the Rosalind McKnight book, there was a meeting place that her and this person she always met.
It was like a guide?
Yeah, it was like a guide. And they would meet in the same spot every time. And he called it the outer rings, or the outer, like there was a certain spot where it was in space, and she said she could see the different rings coming off of the earth, like different sort of energetic rings.
Yeah.
And they would meet out at a certain ring of frequency.
Yeah.
And all she had to do was like think about his face, or it was like something really simple. And then it would just be like, doom, and she'd be there at when she went under.
Wow. And
I think it's kind of happened towards the end of the book, and like she could just kind of do it at will.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, the Gateway experience, so there are 28 levels, and I wonder if those levels are similar to those rings.
Probably.
You know, and I've been calling them planes because that's how I imagine
planes,
them. But but it's all the same, essentially, you know. Because that 28th one is the...
Oh, yeah, and in his book, he went to the place where you said you can't come back from, and what he saw was... It's funny because it's like the last boss, you know. But it was like it was a terrifying, hellish god, and it was saying you can't go past this.
Yeah.
And basically, in reality, his body was kind of going pale and he was getting cold, and his heartbeat had slowed to a really crazy point, and they were getting like worried about him.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So the thing he talks about the most is like nothing can hurt you when you're astrally traveling. Like you can't, you're undestroyable.
Oh, interesting.
And I don't think that he's talking about your body, but he's like, it's safe for your body, because the hardest thing about astral travel is staying out because of the excitement that you have. If you think about your body for one split second, you snap right back. You can't be out long enough. You want to be out way longer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Or you got to pee,
but,
you know?
Right. Well, yeah. But as soon as the thing we call ourselves recognizes that we are outside of ourselves,
our body, that we think we're ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Once that happens, then you've doomed it. Like you have to go back immediately. It's like some forbidden knowledge thing or something. I would imagine.
Yeah, it's controlling excitement and fear. And that's in everything. Like really, if you can control your excitement and your fear, you can do anything.
Right. Yeah, you're unstoppable at that point.
Because it's all made up anyway. Like the fear is just made up.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
To some degree, a lot of things are lies we tell ourselves, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Fear especially.
Yeah, I read shit like, you know, people will be talking about like reptilians and shit and like all that. And I mean, okay, but you know, do I want to be in the room with this person and that negative ass shit that they're always talking about? Like, no, I don't want to be in that. You know?
Well, and that's another thing too, like how negative energy rubs off on you and positive energy rubs off on you. You know, it's the same kind of thing. What a lot of people have difficulty realizing is that it's not the me and you, it's the energy and energy. And so of course negative and positive energy is going to influence our energy in some way.
Oh yeah, because we look at ourselves as a solid body.
Yeah.
Like two people talking, and you're like, why do I like this person? You know, like, or maybe you don't have anything in common with the person, and you guys just get together and you just start going off.
Yeah.
Like,
you're just drawn together.
What is it?
Reason. Right.
You know?
Yeah. Well, it's some kind of harmonious frequency is, you know, that's what I think.
You're synced up.
Yeah.
It's like you're hemi-synced.
It's been probably 25 years at least. There was a book that talked about social allergies, and what they were getting at was some people just have a natural aversion to other people, and it is like an allergy. You begin putting up defenses when you're around these personality types or whatever, and they do the same for you and whatever. And I'm just wondering how much of that is actually just vibrational discordance, like, you know.
Oh, totally. Or both learned patterns and that.
Yeah.
And vibrational discordance, I think. Because you can know immediately.
Yeah.
If you're sensitive enough, you can walk in a room. I can walk in a room and be like, nope, 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 nope. Okay, cool. And then go right over here.
Yes. Yeah. No, I recently was just, you know, vindicated or validated, however you want to say it. But a woman I know about not even a year ago, this other woman that I know went to work there. And the first woman, we're actually friends. The other woman I'd only met twice before. And I said, watch out for her. You can't trust her. And she's like, how do you know? And I was like, I just know. And so I just had lunch with her like a couple of weeks ago, and she was like, you were so right. She was like, how'd you know? I was like, I know, you know, when you know, you know.
When you know, you know.
Yeah. And it wasn't even necessarily anything that person said or did. It's just the energy that came off of them I knew was not trustworthy energy. I could just tell.
Yeah.
And you know, and I'm not magic or anything any more than anyone else is. It's just, I try my best to feel my energy and to try to let it tell me rather than try to interpret what I think I'm feeling.
Exactly.
And I know that's a lot of IMs and all that.
No, it doesn't. But that doesn't matter. I mean, because we're IMs as
Yeah.
far as anybody's concerned. Like we're all I.
Yeah. I went to this salt room down in Owensboro, and I didn't like it. The entire room was like Himalayan salt, and it did have salt floors, salt walls, all salt. And you go in and you sit in there for a half hour or so. And the way it made me feel was really strange. I honestly felt like I was getting sick. Like I felt like I couldn't breathe as well.
Like a detox sort of feeling.
Yeah, it might have been that.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but I was excited to try it because I thought it was going to be more sensory deprivation like. But I couldn't help but be off put by, it's in a strip mall and you go in and like, it's like everything else, drop ceiling and harsh lights and stuff. And then you go back in the room and it's like,
it's not a very good lead up.
It's not a very good lead up. And then when you're done, you walk back out into it and you're like, oh, here I am again,
Mm-hmm.
And so like whatever effect it may have had was severely diminished by the bookends,
Oh yeah, totally.
And I couldn't help but question, like, what was the thinking behind this salt room and what was this salt actually supposed to be doing for me? And if I concentrated on that, would it have a better effect? And if I didn't concentrate on it, would it have no effect at all? Like, how much of it was me, the energy that is me, making the effect happen? And how much of it is me just recognizing an effect because I want to or because I don't want to, and it makes all of these experiences more difficult when you think about how you are impacting it and how, like, you, by virtue of you thinking about it, you are influencing how it's going to work.
Oh, there's no way that you couldn't.
And that's a problem.
Well, it is a problem, but is it? Because if that's the only way it can really work.
True, yeah.
Like if it helps me or it intrigues me or it allows me to do some neat, weird stuff or whatever it is I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Be happier or healthier or whatever it is. I'm a part of that.
Yeah.
I have 2 Himalayan salt lamps. We have them upstairs. And man, I turn those things on every night and I just get a really nice feeling. I don't know what it is. It's the light that it puts off.
I love the light.
Whatever it is, there's something about it, regardless of whether it's the light it puts off or whatever they say it's doing. I don't know. But I really like to have it on.
when my son was little, he would lick our salt lamp all the time.
Yeah.
And so finally we just got him his own so he could just sit in his room and lick the light.
There you go. Lick your lamp.
Lick your lamp, if that's what does it for you. Yeah, we've got a few of those different bowls, the singing bowls, and the tone is super pleasing. Even though I'm not real skilled at making the tone continue for very long, I still very much appreciate it just for its centering ability, if nothing else. You can focus on it and try to let those other thoughts, it's not even pushing them away so much as it is like diverting attention away from them and focusing on the sound that the bowl is making. So like, I get that and I believe in that and agree with that. And I think the mechanism at play has to be the sound waves. It has to be those particular waves influencing your brain in a certain way.
And the energy field.
And the energy field itself. Because that stirs up. That's the other thing we don't think about. The waves actually stir up the particles all around us in various ways.
Right. And also the harmonics, the distortions, and the overtones from from the physical size of the bowl to anything that's in the bowl to whatever. I mean, because I think about it like, okay, yeah, hemi-sync, they focus on sine waves. Mostly. right? And a sine wave is a very pure wave.
Yeah.
I think that's a flaw. I think.
Okay.
I feel like something that is physical or whatever we call this in nature that resonates at certain, like the glasses that you fill up and then the crystal
right.
glasses,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That will freak you out
Yeah.
if you do it long enough.
Sure.
And what I was thinking is singing bowls. I was like, well, I can do those glasses way easier.
Yeah.
And what if, I don't know, I sat there with like a dropper, if I could get something like a tuner, but that would measure hertz.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just put it by there and drop that until I get around the correct hertz of whatever. And then you could get two of them going at once. Or like that is actually a bunch of things happening in that sound.
Yes.
And with the sine wave, it's just one thing.
Yeah. The wave itself is somewhat immaterial. It's all of the other things in addition to the wave that cause the effect.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess the question then is, if we know these waves, in addition to the other things, have various effects, how difficult would it be, one, to catalog those things and replicate those things? And then two, would they work on every single person the same way?
Right.
And I would say that's impossible.
Yeah. I would say that everyone's interpretation of it, even if it's like a fraction of a millimeter different.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little different. But I think if you just kind of like, you're like, okay, here's 10 possible things that's pretty much how it goes. But inside of each one of these things, like you have a lot of room to float around and whatever. You might experience this range of shit or this range of stuff. I think maybe like that.
Yeah.
But this one's generally happy. This one's generally like weird,
It's like someone, decided that A440 was the God note or the note or the frequency to base all the other frequencies on. And then someone else came along and was like, I think it's A432.
432. And then there's then the conspiracy starts about why everything's 440 because it's
right.
disharmonious.
Yes. Yeah.
And it keeps things in sort of.
Yeah.
When you play in 432, I mean, I was tuning my instruments at 432 for a while.
Were you really?
And I can't say whether or not it was, I can't say anything. I didn't do it really for long enough, but I've thought about that a lot.
Yeah.
I would rather hear music in that.
Yeah.
Just because, I don't know, maybe it might have a little extra something kick for me, I don't know.
Well, but then the next question is, okay, maybe it's different for everybody. Maybe I'm 441 and maybe someone's 437 and,
Right.
and then, so if that's the case, then can there ever truly be harmony unless we find, if I'm a 441 guy, do I need to find a complementary tone like 468 or something? How does that work?
I think that the nature of organics is imperfect perfection. The
only order is chaos.
Right.
And the only chaos is order. It's the
right.
Yes.
So it's energy is everything.
Right. Everything comes back to that.
Right.
Yeah. But I really do feel that way. I really do feel like just looking at how we understand biology and how we understand the natural world, it is all chaotic, yet it follows certain patterns or we've assigned certain patterns to it to understand it. So because of that, it just makes me think that maybe we all have individual frequencies that are close and that are somewhat congruent, but are still unique enough. And that's what makes the thing that I call myself unique in a field of other people that could potentially be me, but aren't because of one particular change or 5 particular variances or whatever that is.
But I know what you're saying. Your signature, your thumbprint. Yeah, totally. Why not?
Why not? Yeah. I mean, it's all just energy anyway.
I mean, it's just like, why not? Like anything's possible. So of course we're all different. Of course we see things different. And, you know, like we can all look at a tomato and see a different damn thing. Like,
Right,
I don't
yeah.
know, you know, it's just,
yeah.
it's a mystery.